mean, the sort of convention is that you have it in full the first time, and the letters in brackets, and then you can use the brackets, the letter in brackets after that. Mind you, I must admit, I find that a bit irritating, because I think, oh God, you have to go right back to the beginning. But I just, years and years ago, I was a government, civil servant librarian. We worked in the HMSO, which was the station. It's now called the Stationery Office, but in those days it was called Her Majesty's Stationery Office, HMSO. And you just rolled off the tip of the tongue. You never said that out, in full or anything like that. And I was talking to my mum, who was in her 60s or something at the time, and she said, "What's HMSO?" And she just, well, why would she?
I've seen it written so many times, actually.
Yeah, and
so many times.
Yes.
Even now, I didn't know that's what it meant. I just knew it was something to do with the government.
Well, yes, well, that's right. It said government publications and HMSO.
I didn't know it was different.
There's something. There you are. You learn something. At least we're learning something. Glossy paper is a big no. Because you get reflection, and especially if you haven't followed any of the other guidelines, like the small print and all the rest of it, and then you have this glossy print. I was doing French at Strathclyde University, and the book was a BBC book, and the answers were at the back, and it was like 0.8 in glossy print. You might as well not bother looking at the answers because you couldn't see them, but you get this real gloss of that. So,
I just think that, like if you're doing flyers from the event or something like that, if you're drawn to glossy paper, you think, oh, it has to be glossy paper, it's quality. And
silk. You can use silk.
Silk.
Yeah, silk. A matte finish of a silk.
Silk or matte.
Yeah. Glossy is really not.
So you give another one then. If I'm sending out what I think is a truly inviting email, it says events like, we're having a such and such, you kind of do colour and, centre it, because somehow it makes it, this is not a kind of heavy, it's more fun and it's come along to the party kind of thing. Is that all no?
I would say no, definitely. The other thing about sending emails is that you can spend hours making it look nice.
And they don't come that way.
Well, it doesn't come that way because it depends on what their services. That's another course altogether. That is a course. We run a course on accessible email. But that is one of the things that's why what you see is not what you get. That's what we call it. Because it is difficult.
I would absolutely double underline that, because what we're getting just now, because we're using a different service provider for our emails, it's full of the crop heads. This has not been accessible. This is not been accessible. And so the email that we're talking about came out with all this big red marks everywhere, and I couldn't find the actual text. So it was all lost, which was kind of a shame. So I don't know what the crop heads things like.
No, I think the thing about centred text is once you start using a left alignment for fancy stuff, actually you just get used to it. And then you sort of think, because the thing with centred text is you tend to end up with this little word, or one word in the middle of a thing, and it's actually quite, if it's prose, it's really difficult to read, because your eyes are all over the place.
James Cameron wrote a book like that, and that's how he wrote it, and it was all bits and words sliding along. Can you read it?
So did everyone.
Didn't bother to.
I did manage that. I lived with that. One of the other things that you can do in terms of, and I've talked to this before about Easy Read, about using images. You don't just need to use images strictly for people with learning disabilities or people whose language or speaking another language. It's actually quite a nice way of breaking up a text, and as well, just to make it more readable than, you're not get big blocks of text and things like that. But there are ways and means of doing it, and I'm just going to there's good practice and bad practice. I've given you the good practice, which is my flyer. Just because I thought, well, I'm going to give you a bloody flyer. But if you just take a couple of seconds to look at that, this, and see what I mean. This is a thing that actually came from a disability magazine. Just try and read. Coffee, please. This one. This is no. Has anybody come to the first?
Can I go to the first paragraph?
This is a really good example of how not to use images. If you're using images, you have to be very careful with the layout so that you're not interfering with the text. Because if this one, you go down and where the RNID says, you could then add that, you know, and then you just end up living, using the will to live. You've got 4 columns, and most of them have, you know, just got one word in them. Actually makes it very, I find it very difficult to read. I don't know what you think about it.
You don't know the letters style in the text.
No. Well, I don't. No, they don't. I don't think. In fact, they're not even mentioned in the text.
Because it says that in the first column, it says it adds the one group. You don't know what that means. RNI. Just in relation to that.
No, it's not. It's not.
Misleading.
In fact, that's meant to be RNID. I can't read it, but it's meant to be RNID. Just see what I mean? Aye.
So, take it from me, this is a really bad example of how to use images. And this came from a disability magazine.
That's a cracker.
That's a cracker. I still have, actually, to be honest, it's very boring anyway, because I went onto the internet and I've got, you know, you can get it on the internet, so it was just the text, wasn't much feeding anyway, but that's not the point. It's, you know, if you use images, you have to sort of think about the layout and make sure, I mean, and it is about using images that relate to the text, even because there's not much, you know, there's no point in putting in a picture of the Eiffel Tower if you're talking about Spain, you know, I mean, you know, when that is misleading, isn't it, you know, because people might go thinking
It's still in Paris.
yeah. We think it's in Paris.